Welcome to another AI Meetup. I appreciate you guys coming. Today we have 4 panelists and we're going to talk about how marketing will change with the introduction of AI. You know, what kind of new channels are going to show up and whatnot. So I'm going to start with an introduction here. Gary Gottlieb here. He's got a company here in Vegas that's doing business agents, helping companies basically enhance their internal processes, right? You want to talk a little bit about that real quick?
I don't think the mic's working. It's recording.
It's not supposed to be, it's only recording for that. So you just have to go.
My name is Gary Gottlieb. I'm with Ask ROI, and we've got 3 platforms we've created. Ask ROI itself is a chatbot competitor to ChatGPT and all the other majors that are out there. Difference between Ask ROI and everybody else is we come from small business. And so our first thought 3 years ago was, how does ChatGPT and everybody that's out there really cater to the needs of the small businessman? Do you provide customer service? No, you don't. Do you provide FAQs on a regular basis provided by you instead of having all the independent operators thinking how ChatGPT can best manipulate it? No, you don't. Do you have 24-hour customer service? No, you don't. We do. And today I'm here to let you know you can get a free copy of Ask ROI. Just go to askroi.com and sign up for free. We give you 2 gigs of storage and all the ability to do the things inside the platform. We believe everything needs to be integrated.
All right, excellent. Okay, Joshua, please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, my name is Joshua Koger. I founded a digital marketing agency. Actually just recently moved here in February from Northern California. So just getting kind of integrated into the Las Vegas community, helping companies essentially just increase their visibility online. So I have a very varied, experience and past from, faith-based to nonprofit to director of technology at Carnival Cruise Line. So all from not living near the ocean. So that was interesting. So, yeah.
So marketing geek with a capital G, capital E, capital E, capital K. Right, thanks. All right, Mr. Harris.
So my name is Eric Harris, AI strategist, former senior product manager at Microsoft, worked with Copilot and done a few things in that space, working on a medical device right now, bringing digital health to the home for people with spinal cord injury specifically, and going after more of the health data. How do we make health data more accessible, more available, and more relevant to the different individuals such as yourselves in the room? So that's a little bit about my background. Angel investor, had a couple things with some other startups. One startup in my portfolio is actually going public later this fall, so really excited about that. But here more to help and support the ecosystem. A lot of people know me from that area, so yeah, that's a little bit about myself.
Excellent, thank you so much. And another Eric.
Hi, I'm Eric Lacoste. Some of you recognize me. I've been doing presentations here at Tech Alley for about the last 10 months. My presentation is Google is just not that into you. I was a special intelligence analyst in the Marine Corps, 03 to 08. So AI and SEO is right up my alley as far as learning about the legacy SEO, the old school way, and how AI has changed and actually manipulated some of the old things into new things. And a lot of businesses are struggling even to be in the legacy element of SEO, not even the conversation of how they go forward into AI. So my business, what I like to do is to help those businesses get to the AI threshold by establishing their legacy SEO to a basic common denominator.
Excellent, excellent. So we're going to talk about a brave new world. Okay, what is that? Well, it's basically, to put it in one slide, the agentic internet, which is the term that Sam Altman has started to use. So we'll just follow this. So on one side, we have business agents, which are going to do all the things that Gary was talking about in terms of interacting with consumers. And on the other side, we're going to have AI assistants, which consumers use to do things like research and negotiate product price and organize your life, right? So those two have to talk to each other. And that's going to create some new challenges. So you'll have services in the middle between the agents that fill in the gaps. provide things like anonymity and, broad scale analytics to connect the two parties that each have interests. Like if the consumer agent needs to find business agents that are selling particular kinds of products, they need to kind of find a phone book to look those people up, yellow pages, if you will, for agents. So that's the background. The assertion is that the internet is going to change dramatically and it's going to move very quick. And what I want to do, and what I've done in the last few presentations, both here at this venue and also the Henderson Tech Alley, is try to raise awareness on the part of businesses about the challenges, some of the things they can start to do, some of the things they shouldn't do. And so that's why I brought this panel together today, because they each can have insights provided to you that might, help you avoid a rock, right? Or maybe see a new opportunity. So both sides are good. So we have 9 questions. You can read through the questions. We're just going to step through them. If you had a question and it's on the list, just wait till we get to it. If you don't have a question, if you do have a question that's not on this list, then we'll give an opportunity toward the end to open it up, assuming we have time. So first question, how will AI change how my customers find products and services like mine? So any of you guys want to start with that one? Eric's.
It was my question. So how many of you all use Google to search for things presently? All right, keep your hands raised. How many of you all use Bing? Who knows what Bing is? That's funny. That's funny. Wow, that happened. All right, how many of you all have actually typed in, like, what is something inside of an AI prompt? And you got back a URL, whether using Perplexity, Gemini, et cetera, right? So that's search. What is happening is the LLM, the companies, OpenAI, et cetera, are brokering contracts. OpenAI just did one with Shopify. Anybody heard about that? So Shopify. So they're essentially backfilling a lot of data of available products that are there. AI search is what is happening. So if you have a product, how are your customers finding you? Search is actually transitioning into more of a prescriptive, like this is what you need versus this is what's available. And that's kind of the mental shift that a lot of people don't understand. And it's happening very quickly. People are losing dollars. I think this is where SEO actually comes into play as well. How do you shift the information there? So customers, how are they finding your products today will largely shift in from here's a list of things that you can go find, figure out the top ranking recommendation to this is what's recommended based upon their ability to describe what they want. It's a completely different mental model. So that's one of the ways that AI will be impacting how customers find and interact with your products in the future. And structuring your data appropriately is one of the ways that you could do that. So just thought.
Did you want a chance?
Yeah, sure. What people have to get to understand is that the legacy SEO system is about quantity. What do I need to do to get 100 visits to my website? Those days are over. You're going to get 5. But those 5 people, 4 of them may convert. So the way that the AI is going to adjust for customers and products is that you have to be very specific as to what you provide the customer. AI is going to get in the way to fill in the blanks. But as a human being speaking to a customer that's another human being, what do they need to know that makes you different and makes you better than everyone else? That's why AI is going to catch up. Right now, we're starting to see how that math is being presented, right? So it's going to change. You just have to get used to the metrics that we're used to are going to be much more smaller and much more calculatable, right? And that's the reality. It's not quantity, it's quality.
That's a great summary. Would you guys want to take that one, or? No? Gary?
Yeah.
Similar, honestly.
With Ask ROI, we incorporate the 6 top competitors. We already recognize our algorithm isn't hit the mark. And more importantly, we're looking at how search takes place. We have a paradigm within our company that anything we search for, we have to do it on our own platform, as well as go out and look at how that search results are with, say, some of the competitors. So we see how things are evolving. So we're in the know, because very soon we will need to jump ahead. And we believe, unlike what Eric is talking about and Google looking at one way, we're going to do the un-Google thing and go in a whole different direction. And that's where the the pedal to the metal, so to speak, for us. But the shit's going to hit the pavement, and there'll be a new paradigm, and we're going to see how this works.
Okay, here's the next one. How do I optimize product content for search, LLMs, and AI assistants? That's yours.
Mine? Okay. So here, I know it's basically my presentation. What we have to understand about the AI agents, right? That's going to come. There's no doubt about that. But you have to get yourself to an AI compliant ability right now. You have to have the old school legacy. How many keywords does your website have right now? How much traffic were you getting in the old system? Because those agents are going to go after what's called the embedded relevance score, which is based on the old legacy system. So you're not going to sit and wait for an agent to find you. You have to be willing to be found now so that that agent builds up more relevance for your product, your service, and who you are as of today, right? So what does that mean? Did you post today? Are you going to post 3-4 times a week? What's your blog going to be written about for your customer next week? That's all part of this ecosystem. It has to be hunting. You can't wait anymore. So all of this AI is going to catch up to you, but you have to be aggressive about it. It's all about aggression, right? After you start to see what your customers are doing, find other businesses that work with that audience. Work in partnerships. We don't want to give away our secrets. Sorry, it's time to start giving it away. Work with other people that work in those audiences, and you double the audience. And AI is going to start to realize that, and that's what's called semantic topical authority. That is not just one word. That's all the cascading words that are associated with the one core industry keyword that relevant to your business. What else is incorporated in that ecosystem? AI is going to find out, and AI is going to reward. That's what they do.
I think you let your inner Marine come out there.
Yeah, I mean, I think to add to what Eric is saying, we're shifting from a keyword-driven algorithm, which granted the algorithm has gotten a lot smarter over the years, right? It keeps getting better and better to match intent more closely. But now, instead of almost like a binary, hey, what's the keyword? Now we've moved to a contextual, right? Where the LLMs have so much more computing power to actually understand not just like what's this keyword and what's the relevance to another keyword that may be on the page. Now they're actually understanding like the videos and like everything about the website, and then they're looking out beyond the website to see, okay, where else is this person cited, and how important is this website or what the person's talking about compared to wherever else it's being talked about on the web. And it's crunching all this data in milliseconds and then presenting a one paragraph explanation, right? So it's moving from this keyword. It doesn't mean that keywords are, in my opinion, it doesn't mean that keywords are dead, because they're still included in the algorithm when he's talking about the legacy. But it moves to much more contextual and topic, like do you dominate a topic? That's what it's looking for. How relevant to a topic is your website? And so the more that you dominate a topic and you have a breadth and a depth of, experience and authoritativeness and trustworthiness in that topic, probably the more that you're going to be cited in those LLMs. So it's almost like, omni-channel marketing versus a single vertical. So that's kind of where things are moving to, and from my perspective.
Eric, did you? No? What next? Okay. Will AI disrupt my core value proposition in the way people evaluate offerings? This is clearly from the business perspective, right? So think about that. That's every one of you that have a business, you have maybe a number of different value propositions. Are all those going to be relevant coming forward? Any thoughts from the panel on that? I will give you one that I just talked with Joshua. His wife does a podcast. And I was thinking, well, maybe podcasters will have agents that talk to their audience. What would that do? It lets the audience start to interact and share their thoughts and feelings and desires. What can the podcaster do? They can take all those conversations and get a deep understanding of where their community that they're part of is going and try to answer and enhance that. experience. And now Gary has a question or a comment.
Yeah. Well, as we move towards that kind of democratization in economics, then I think social media and all the other many online platforms and audiences and ways we can, we the business community, engage audiences and consumers go out and engage providers. It's going to be it'll be a lot more decentralized, and it'll be truly an opportunity for entrepreneurs to finally shine and break away from, say, the overreach that, say, Google and some of the many search engines that have been out there controlling the narrative. And that's what we've been looking forward to, is how do we really democratize and decentralize a page. Crypto has been leading the way. It's time that economic markets start listening and changing, and that will spur also the adoption, I believe, of crypto and blockchain to a much greater degree.
That's really good. The next one that we have up is what's the same about SEO and what's different. I think we've been talking a little bit about that, but I wanted to put this question in because a lot of folks that have small businesses, even large businesses, are trying to get their act together around SEO, right? And so I wanted, we have two SEO experts here, so I wanted to let them dive in. One thing in particular I want to ask you to talk about is in your presentation at Henderson Tech Alley last month, what you talked about was the way we need to change our website so that AI mode, for instance, in Google can do a better job of creating the vector map of the tokens in that so that it can present summaries of that value proposition on that website. And it can take that website, another website, line them all up and do some kind of cross-cutting concern analysis and provide kind of an insight into that. Maybe you could speak a little bit more about.
Absolutely. So what has not changed about the old SEO? First of all, the speed in which your website loads, that is a constant, especially on mobile. If you have videos, rollover animations, and it slows everything down, good luck with an LLM. Good luck, because that's all JavaScript. That's an MP4. LLMs are looking at the basic HTML. They're not going to watch your video to make sure they understand what your message is to your customer. They're going to bypass it. Backlinks, more important now than ever before, especially local citations, especially Yellow Pages. YellowPages.net, every single web page under the earth has a domain rating. Yellow Pages is an 81 out of 100. The #1 website in the world is Facebook. It's a website, it's not a search engine. You could take 20 minutes and fill out a free local citation for yellowpages.net and bump your own domain score by 2 in less than 3 weeks. How many websites do you pass with a domain bump of 2? 7.5 million websites, because no one does it. That's one citation. There are hundreds. And you just have to put your free information, name, website, phone number. You could be done in a weekend, and you could bump up 10 points. You don't even need to consult an SEO for this. This is all free, right? Time on page. How long is your customer on your website? The golden number is a minute. Anything less, what do you have to rearrange, right? Keywords, yes. Organic traffic, those days are done. It's about AI mentions, right? And in the SEO world, we are developing, or at least have expressed in our own communities, how to build a Google Analytics 4 report that specifically targets all the LLMs and where they go and how long did they go from that LLM to your web page. Now, of course, there's a lot of AI monitoring websites out there now that charge $40, $50 a month when you could just build out a Google Analytics report and do it for free. But again, this is the competitiveness of SEO moving into AI. Content. What is it that you're writing? How are you reaching your customer? What is your customer's interests? What do they like? What do they don't like? How are you going to get in front of them? What are their behaviors? That is still old legacy SEO. That has not changed. It's just LLM is starting to parse it down, what's called tokenization, and then put it into a mathematical formulation called vectoring. That's all that it's doing. And then it's putting it out for all the people to see and mention. So, anybody else have anything to add? I think I just touched on.
In your response, would you define the SEO? I might be the only one.
SEO is search engine optimization. Yeah. Yeah. So I saw this LinkedIn post that was really poignant that kind of speaks to this, and it was like, what's the difference between, what we used to do for SEO and what we do now? And it said, like, in for lack of a better term, the legacy SEO, it was like page load times were really important. Now, page load times are really important. So before in the legacy, the context and content of your pages is really important. Now, the content and context is really important. And before, like having schema markup on your page was really important. Now, schema markup is really important. So there's a lot of energy, and I don't know if I want to say hype, but there's a lot of almost fear around, oh, SEO's dead. It's like, no, it's not. It's still there and it's still functioning, but it is changing. It's being augmented by insight versus just content, right? So, and that's kind of like my short answer is that there's SEO is still SEO. Like it's not dead. It's still functioning. It's still important to do. Like what he's saying, like the legacy is still incorporated into what the LLMs are looking for. If you don't have the good solid SEO base, then you can't probably expect to be found on LLMs now. So it's still there. It's still functioning. It's still important. But there are things that you can do. Like I know for my clients, I'm adding summaries at the top of articles. I'm adding like FAQs to every long form article. If it's short, maybe not. But if it's like cornerstone piece of article, then I'm adding an FAQ for that specific article, that specific topic. Things like that that are bite sized that can get pulled into the citations for LLMs. If you have like infographics or things like that, like things that will get shared or cited on the other platforms, those are important. So you can do things, but at the same time, SEO is still there, it's still functioning, it's still happening.
So we just had a question from the audience by text, which is the first. I love that. Can SEO be regional or national? Basically. Can SEO be regional or local? Can we, tailor it to be focused on a particular, like Las Vegas or some other geographic location?
I mean, I would say yes. I mean, I think one of the hallmarks of what we're moving towards is actually hyper-personalization. So I think the short answer would be yes. I think, how that plays out, and granted, we're still in the midst of the transition and we don't know exactly what it will look like in 2 years or in 5 years. But I think moving on that hybridization train, I think it should give the best answer, hopefully, the best answer for that intent and query. So if that means if I'm looking for a local business, that it should be able to give me a local business. So that's my short answer.
I'll share it from a slightly different perspective, in agreement, but a different lens. What's your strategy for the customer that you want? Right to that audience. So you're not just trying to make SEO local or regional. You're writing to the audience, and that just happens to be, I want to target Las Vegas customers because I have a brick and mortar in Las Vegas. So I'm writing that, I'm putting into the content, I'm working with other businesses that are going to say, hey, we did an event last Saturday and we brought this brand out and this brand out. And now that's popping up as additional content that just so happens to be backlinked into my website because I wrote a blog about it as well. That's SEO. That's the new form of registering across multiple domains so that your AI, if someone searches for it, actually finds it. The other thing to think about is this. Is your product something that in conversation someone would go and ask AI about? So don't over pivot, please. Because if you do that, you're going to spend a lot of effort and energy, and your customers may not use AI to look you up. So being relevant, understanding your customer, understanding their buying patterns, their habits, what brings them into the market to look for a solution in the first place, how are they solving the problem, helps you understand how to use AI, how to use search, how to use SEO to tailor your presence online digitally to cater to them. That's just a thought.
I have another thing to add about that. And this is an interesting topic because the SEOs are going to have different ideas on how to reach locally and nationally. My perspective, it's always going to be Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, right? When you start the game, you don't go up against Mike Tyson. You have to work up to Mike Tyson, right? You have to go through all the circuits. It's the same thing when it comes to your business. You have to get the little wins first. The wins for your neighborhood, the wins for Las Vegas, the wins for Nevada. Then you can go to LA, then you can become national. If you want to think of it that way, get the wins first.
Yes.
That's all it takes, because then that develops your own algorithm for your business as to the next level.
Yep.
If you try to shoot for Mike Tyson when you put the game in, you're going to get beat every single time. You have to work yourself up to that fight every single time. I know. There was a thing called Nintendo. Yes.
All right, let's go. All right. So next question is, how do I prepare for the coming agentic web if I'm not super technical? Yeah.
I'll do a little bit of this. I think part of it is, one, don't use fear, because you're just going to make a bunch of bad mistakes. What he mentioned of find out all the little things that you probably should have done already, structuring your website appropriately, figuring out how to do backlinks, things of that nature. Those are basic things. Getting your Google page updated. There's a couple of listings that the AIs, and I don't have them all off the top of my head, that they read from. It was stated that Gemini and Claude, I could be wrong in this one, I think they were pulling from Bing and ChatGPT as well. So they were referencing that as their main search engine, not Google. Interesting. So looking at those things, there are things that you can do, basic things, to help your framework there. The other thing is also understanding how AI search happens. So using search yourself, looking at the results. Is your content structured in an easy manner so that AI can actually scan that quickly, digest it, and then regurgitate a summary? If you give it a summary, it's not going to create a new summary. It's going to use your summary. I've actually seen that happen in Google. It actually does that. And so those are things that are simple to do. Don't use fear. Just make a plan of here's what I do, here's what I have, is what I have set up for success before you start to go add 15 other things to the list. So that's a little bit of my take on it.
I want to add one more thing that might have got lost in all that. Your audience is changing. Your audience aren't the people anymore. It's not the eyeballs. So how pretty a website, I've built many websites over the years, and most of the clients I've done that for were all about how pretty it was. The really smart ones were, how easy can I navigate it? None of them paid any attention to any of the stuff these guys are talking about, because that's underneath the covers. So if you're not technical, at least learn enough about this SEO schemas and summarizations and FAQs. In other words, the semantics of your website to make it much more effective as a representative of your company's value proposition to LLMs. Because you're going to get more of those visiting your site than you are people. I'm not saying it should be an ugly website, okay, but its prettiness is not the thing that it used to be, right? Hit the website. If you're coming there as a consumer today, you've probably come there because you've been recommended as a consumer to go to that website by an LLM. So you got to get the LLM's attention first, right? Okay.
Having robots, what is it, robot.ts?
Yes.
Yes, yeah, having that, if you have it disabled or blocked by any way, you can cancel everything we're saying. You just basically said, don't do this. Having that simple piece, that's one easy thing that a lot of people with development don't do. That's one very simple thing that you can do to encourage algorithms to scan your website. So,
And also the LLM text is coming up in 2 months. So there'll be
Oh,
an
I didn't know
addition,
that, really?
LLM TXT files will be coming out for websites. So now you can augment and actually partition certain GPTs that you don't want to come to your website.
So I have a question.
Sure.
When is it going to be the case that we as website providers have to do our own vectorization and provide that blob for the LLM so they can pick it up and run with it more quickly?
I hope a long time from now. That's so much work.
So I have a client who has, at least what they feel, a lot of proprietary, IP, right, within their context of their website. And they, 2 years ago, we essentially blocked AI because they didn't want to lose their IP. So for some companies, if education or if information is their product, that's going to be a challenge, like right off the bat, right? And so, trying to figure out how can you build a page that is still gives the context to LLMs, but doesn't give away everything, right? And then at the same time, I pulled the server logs, and you can see which bots are scanning your website, and whether it's a search bot or if it's a training bot. And it's actually possible to actually block a training bot, but not the search bot, right? So you have to go through but also looking at the server logs, you can say, you know what, all of your content's probably already scanned, because Anthropic was probably they were found to be spoofing user traffic, and they were using it to train their model, right? So you're probably already scanned. So is it best just to allow to not block the LLMs? Probably, but you have to consult your client on that as well.
Really good. That comes back, by the way, that's another great example of question 3, was how's that value proposition changed, right? That's direct training companies' materials on the web getting scanned and reused. Okay, next one. Which parts of my marketing funnel can be augmented with AI today? Who wants to take a shot at that one? Augmented, extended, automated, tuned up.
It's an interesting one because, to your point, a lot of this needs to be scanned by agents. These are not people. But at the end of the day, your content is going to be represented or re-displayed in front of a person. The person is ultimately, at the moment, until we have agents buying on our behalfs, the person's still making the final decision of what they want. And so I think a little bit of like augmentation. If you want to sound like a robot, you want to sound like you get the person, but you don't quite get their pain point, then yeah, leveraging AI could be a good way to create content, to do some level of automation where you're automating emails, responses, and things like that. You can have certain automation in place, but I would not, and I know a couple of companies that do this now, I wouldn't fail to leave the human element, the human fingerprint inside of everything you're doing. I know people that literally turn on AI, copy and paste, and they throw it out there. And they now are in a quantity game, not a quality game. So they have to like triple, like 10x the amount of people they're reaching just to get the same impact as if they would have sat down and write that email or their text message and sent it out directly. And so those are things like around the augmentation piece of it. I think there's a balance of ensuring that you have the right voice, tone, and understanding, but then how do you actually automate, I would say automate versus augment, automate distributing that to the right audiences is the way I would look at that piece of it from a marketing perspective. And that helps you, again, speak to the end user using AI to help you distribute that, not having AI create your end user, in this case, or persona, et cetera. And therefore, there's a bad way to do that. So that's my thought on that one.
The question is, why would you want a computer to have any control of the journey of someone wanting to be your customer or client? Because if we're looking at the the marketing funnel, AIDA, attention, interest, decision, action. Awareness or attention is going to be the socials. No problem, right? That's what you're creating content for. That's what you're pushing the envelope as to what makes you different. Well, the whole point of a post is to create interest, something for them to go from that post to your website. That's where they make the decision. And their decision is whether they take an action. That's as 101 as this whole SEO marketing funnel works. Now, if you want to augment the mass quantity of emails that you want to go through, fine. But again, you're not looking at the real issue of building the online presence, which is who are the people you want to get in front of and what do they need to hear from you that creates interest. As we move into the agentic world, okay, if you're not at the point where you're actually being seen by LLMs, you're still doing the legacy stuff by the numbers. I need to make a post. I need to make a video. I need to do this. Until you get to a point where the technology is caught up to say that post got this many mentions on ChatGPT. Now you're looking at now you're in the AI world. That's where social media and AI are going to converge. At the very beginning, what do you post? It's not pictures of the dog. It's not the Bellagio fountain. It's what you do that's better than anybody else, period.
Okay, I like that. Yes.
I think when it comes to just augmenting your marketing with AI, honestly, I think the sky's the limit. Like, maybe this is a different take, but you go to platforms like NAN, and if you want to automate something, whether it's creating blog posts or videos or like content, like you can do that all day long. Granted, now if you've ever typed a prompt into an LLM, you know that not all prompts are created equal, right? I was on a Zoom with a client the other day, and he's like, "Oh, let me ask what like ChatGPT." I'm like, "Okay, fine, let's see what it says." And he typed in like create article for blah blah. And I'm like, okay, right? So if you type in that prompt versus a prompt that gives it more information of who the audience is and right from the perspective and like what keywords you want to use and what sections, and like you're going to get a much different result, right? And if you just copy paste like what he's saying is like the quality of content is just not going to be to where it's probably going to benefit you all that much. Maybe there's you have a post to post, right? So there's that, but the like quality is what is going to get you further with LLMs. So if you're using it to get you 80% there, and then you're massaging it and you're editing it and you're adding your own expertise and you're adding examples and you're adding an infographic and things like that, that's where it's probably increasing the speed of content creation by 80%, and that's where it can really be a benefit, in my opinion.
Being a businessman, when I read the question, my marketing funnel, I'm also always thinking the flip side. Well, I go from marketing to sales. When that flag goes from marketing to sales, I go from an AI or some kind of automated system automatically to a personal touch. Personal touch will never go away. I'm going to underline that. It will never go away. So any small businessman or large corporation thinks that they're going to eliminate a large workforce within their population by automating a bunch of things and then taking those folks and saying bye-bye, fatal mistake. No one knows your business better than them. No one can sell your business faster than them. Bring in a bunch of newbies or take people that have been with you for 2 or 3 years. Who knows your culture? Who knows your product? Who knows how to talk the game? They are going to be better and more trainable and available to be reused in a very strategic way. That's our approach. Right now, we're in the middle of actually providing opportunities for people to invest in our blockchain. What have we done? We have agents out there entertaining marketing questions. The moment our algorithm senses there is a sales question, it immediately get us a live agent for you. Do you want that? Sale time.
So what's the percentage of people that say yes, okay, right away to that question? Is it 50% of the time, 80% of the time?
About 40% of the time.
Interesting.
They're
That's a
still,
good qualification question.
it's a good qualification because they're still gathering information. They still need to be marketed to, and there may be a few more minutes before they go through the materials, the marketing materials that we have out there. They haven't read everything, but we're constantly prompting. And that's what we're finding, and more to be revealed. Next month, I may come back with new information as to what's going on. This is a dynamic world, and welcome to AI.
That was great. All you guys had great comments on that question. Let's go to the next one. So, are KPIs changing? Which one should I be tracking in this new reality? KPIs, key performance indicators. If you're not measuring what you're doing, you're probably not doing as well as you should. Okay, it's very simple. You have to measure to improve. Right? Oh, all right. Those are fighting words. All right, who wants to take a shot at that question?
Might as well be a short answer. You know, the first KPI you should do is do a self-audit on your website on ChatGPT and Gemini. That's your first KPI. It'll give you a list of what it needs. That's your first KPI list right there.
Unless it comes back, what were you thinking?
I know, like, what? No, seriously. Write what your business is, the web address of your business, and say, what do I need for you to see me in the LLMs? That's where we're at. You don't need to find an SEO to do an audit. You can do it yourself, and it gives you a list of all the things it needs to do. And then you say, I don't know how to do that. I can hire someone to do that. I think I can learn how to do that. That's your KPI.
Yeah, that. Do I have anything to say after that? It's a lot of people. We tend to complicate things because we hear buzzwords and things we don't understand. Like, what's the next step? Actionably, like, yeah, use AI as your friend. It's actually very good at evaluating things. You can have it scan your code and say, is this speaking to the right audience? What is the tone? Like, ask it questions to give you information back. And then be smart about it. Don't just use one LLM. Google's free, Gemini's free, Chat's free. Claude is free, Perplexity is free. You can use all those and bounce and say, hey, I got this response. This is what it said. What do you think about this? Critique this. Give me a different, like, you can actually use them to all give you something that's informative. And then at the end of the day, you can actually ask one more question. What can I do in the next 7 days to execute on this? Simple. And it helps you to understand, here's the things that you could potentially do. And those are things that are really helpful when it comes to that. KPIs, at the end of the day, yeah, if you're not tracking something, you can't change it because you're not measuring it. Understanding what matters, how these things work is one way to do that. So, yeah, he mentioned a lot of stuff, but take it simple and yeah, build it out slowly over time.
I mean, this is honest, as a marketer, this is actually a challenging question because, like, when you're talking about working with a business, like, it's like, how do you know you're doing a good job, right? And so, like, this is what the key performance indicators are really, like, speaking to. Like, before, you could speak to, like, hey, like, I increased your page views or your traffic by 300%. And now, like, with the rise of zero-click searches, like, I don't want to be judged on traffic anymore, right? So what, like, how do you work with the business to still show that you are doing something of value, whereas before it's like now the KPIs are definitely changing, right? Like with email, like I don't even actually track opens anymore because one, it impacts deliverability, and two, like really reply rate is kind of all that matters. Like either click-through rate or reply rate, right? So like you have to maybe work with a company or understand what's important to you. Obviously revenue, like revenue is a KPI that's probably not going to change, but like work with that business to understand what's important and how is that measured in your business and how could that be changing to still give value to, the people that you're working with, and what's fair as well. Like what's, even though like SEO is changing, SEO is still important to a business to be found online. So how can you determine what the value is of that service and still be paying for the service in a fair way? So I think that's a challenging question, honestly. So
Again, as a businessman, I'm going to answer, drawing back to question number 7, my sales funnel, my marketing funnels. For your clients, that's going to be the golden rule. How much time are people actually on the website reading what we have up there? Are they taking too long? Have I confused them? These are the kinds of KPIs that we're going to have to start to generate. It's not just, is it long enough? Is it too long? Because you want to convert and you want to have their attention. And if it's confusing, what seems to be too long, 5 minutes, may be a lack of education that we're not providing, or we've confused them. And so we have to do a better job of trying to capture that individual's attention and find that information out. So our mechanisms are going to have to become more intentional and more specific.
All good, all good. So the next question we have is how does the rise of consumer plus LLM generated content affect marketing? We've talked a little bit about people doing really brain dead prompts and posting that as something I think other people will want to see. But any other comments on that?
You go first.
There's gonna be more noise and more opportunity to be clear, concise, and specific to the pain points of your customers and their value proposition and how that aligns with yours. But there will be like it heightens. There's going to be way more noise out there, and also content that is truly purely driven and created by AI. It's AI videos, AI audio, AI words. Like that's all there. It's going to just be more of it, and so the agents will also be there. We kind of touched through this a little bit, but agents will have a bit more of your preference, what you want, and be able to actually go to bat, sifting through a lot of that content on your behalf. We're heading in that direction. We're not quite there yet, but all this AI content, user-generated plus LLM content, is starting to just blend into a space where it's just a bunch of noise. And so I think one of the things you have to realize is how do you reduce the amount of noise that your content shows or is supported by? And how do you speak to the customer? Customers know when something resonates. They know when they feel heard. And that type of content will resonate. And that's something that AI cannot do presently really well. It's going to generate a bunch of fluff, but you can read through and you can tell when something's prompted by AI. You either have the dash or you have certain words where it just doesn't quite cut it and make sense. Those are things that are hurting a lot of what customers and businesses are doing in that space. And this goes for even large corporations. We dealt with this in Microsoft, where there's people that wanted to just post and create content as like using LLMs. It's like, no, that's not going to resonate with the audience. And we've done a lot of testing. I worked with a group where we spun out probably 1,500 tests a month on content and things of that nature, and how we're working, doing growth. And so if you think of big corporations doing this, it's something that you as a small business should possibly be doing as well.
So there's a new term in the AI world called the EBS, Embedded Relevance Score, EVS, always get that mixed up. EVS, Embedded Relevance Score. This is the ranking factor of AI. It is basically taking every word of your website and what is called tokenization and vectoring. How is that going to be affected? Because everything that you write on your website from H1 headings to the H6 better resonate with some form of your customer base, period. Because you want to have a very good embedded relevance score. Because it's not about the sentence, it's about the fragmentation of the sentence in the vectoring math of the LLM, right? I know.
There's a prompt for that.
There's a prompt for that. There's an AI program for that too. But seriously, this is going to take over ranking. The ranking of the SERP is over. It's done. Now we have a very, very high math, high trigonometry vector math equation that goes after your website and it compares it to the inquiries of the people that you want to reach. That's it, right? But we also have to look at what search is now for AI. Searches could be an hour long. You could be having a whole conversation and your AI is going to be doing the work behind that conversation and reference this business in conversation with you. It's not one sentence on a Google SERP with 10 blue links. Those days are over. Now you have to be very customizable as to how you get in front of those people. And that is going to be, it's going to be a great challenge, but it's going to be a lot of learning curve for a lot of people.
You know, the word generative is maybe almost a misnomer in my opinion in some instances in terms of AI, because while it does like generate, it's going out and grabbing all the context around that thing, and then it's using that context to create its answer, right? But so it's not creating something new per se. It's especially if you're creating like a blog post or something, right? It's going to grab what's out there, the most prevalent topics or the most visible or what it deems as the most, the best, so to speak, and it's going to recreate that. It's going to rewrite it and recreate it, right? It's not creating something. It's not generating something new. So if you want to, like, as far as how it's affecting content and marketing, it's creating a lot of noise, like what these guys are saying, And so if you can create something that's insightful, if you can create a white paper, if you can create something like an infographic that actually gives value, right? Then that's going to help set yourself apart from all the white noise generated from just the mass content creation, right? So again, think about what value, what's something that can set you apart? What's your value proposition for your business or for your client that actually is significant and creates differentiation for you and your business. Like create content on that and create something that's not just AI generated, but that's something that gives your own personal critique or insight into that thought leadership. The thought leadership are those are the things that are going to get cited, right, and get pulled into LLMs. So
I think in its simplicity, there's going to be a lot of opportunity for new concierge and influencers to really step in and be gateways for companies to bring in audiences. As the search engines go out there and there's mass disruption, I think influencers and concierges will be created that have an opportunity to really build an audience that may be hyper-focused on a particular area of products, and they'll be able to drive traffic, and companies will be very happy as they start to try and figure this out in another way. That will be a short-term opportunity to be able to generate revenue. And I predict a lot of that will start happening in the next 6 months.
That's great. So we have 2 more questions here, so we're going to try to get through them all. How will consumer ratings and reviews change and affect marketing? We all love those ratings, right? Oh, we got to laugh.
We gotta laugh at it.
Oh, well, because that's going to be monitored by LLMs. It's going to be a ranking factor. What do you think those LLMs are going to look for in those agents? They're going to look to see how many 5-star reviews you have, because Google My Business profiles will be embedded in the LLMs, right? But this is what you do about your ratings. Try to get at least 1 3-star. Try. Because we start to see in the statistics that if you have 100 5-star reviews, we may not hold that to too much trust. People want to read the 3-star. They want to read how you handle someone that didn't have a good experience.
Yeah.
A 4.9 is better than a 5. And LLMs are catching on to that.
Yeah, that's the unique thing. So Google reviews have been out, Yelp reviews, et cetera, have been out for a while, and companies have gotten smarter to where they can actually put a gateway in between what gets actually posted to Google versus being able to filter that out. And I know a couple of companies that they really went out and said, we will only get you 5-star reviews. So they gatekeep everything else. And I was like, that's the worst thing you can do. As humans, we actually want to see that they're not perfect. Do you go out and trust a company that has just 5-star? More than likely, no, because that something's wrong. There's other humans behind the scene. Someone's doing something to screw something up, and not every salesperson's perfect. But this goes back to a lot of the other things we said about SEO and content, especially in the age of AI. If you have Google reviews, that's not on your website, that's on Google. Can you bring those in? That's backlinking to that. Those are ways that search content is being relevant based upon that. Another thing you can do is get on more than one review site. That's just adding your name, your business, what you do, how you solve the problem for the customer, how they speak about your business differently, and it's not on your website, it's somewhere else. And that adds to your relevancy score when it comes to the AI algorithms. It actually helps a lot. And I know companies are like, well, I'm only on Facebook or I'm only on Yelp. I'm like, yeah, get on Thumbtack. You're doing home services. You should have reviews on Thumbtack. Work that into your ecosystem. When you go out and you do a sale, if you're doing something with services, close the deal and ask the person to give you a review. Video reviews on YouTube and things like that where they do shorts. Those things work. Instagram, like this is your whole ecosystem of content working for you without you having to produce a lot of it yourselves. And it does take a lot of work to do that. But the benefit is you show up fast and you show up relevant to your audience. Not to just everybody, but your audience. And that's where marketing dollars comes into play. A lot of people spend money on marketing because they're trying to figure out their audience. I'd rather spend money on marketing actually speaking to my audience. And using organic information and content is one of the best ways to do that. And reviews and customer testimonials is like gold. It is literally gold because it's something that you didn't say. It's not in your language. It's on their profile. It's on their whatever brand, and they're speaking about you. And that's relevancy scores that AI is actually picking up on a lot faster.
I want to thank everybody for being so attentive today and so quiet. It's been one of the quietest sessions I've attended here in Tech Alley.
Any snores out there?
So I want to engage all of you. By a show of hands, how many of you have been involved in any marketing or sales effort with your clients? I want to see who we're actually talking to.
Or the other way around, you have a business and you have.
Or you have-
Marketing. There you go.
Curious about AI.
Hopefully everybody.
So.
Everyone here, they're curious about it.
So in our marketing, and we have a lot of new fintech products out there, blockchain, our own tokens, 3 of them we've created and stuff. But marketing, Ask ROI, our experience has been every person who's come on, who's taken a free copy, and you can't believe how many people don't take a free copy of something that they can simply delete. It's amazing. Especially in today's hyper-tech society that we have. We ask them for a review. And you know how many reviews we get back? Less than 1%.
It's classic, right?
It's classic. And so for you that are thinking about marketing and sales questions, think about that dynamic. When you give something away for free, let alone that has a price tag to it, we have to really get creative in prompting our customer or would-be client on getting their feedback. Why was the sale? Why couldn't I sell you this? What is the roadblock?
Well, we have hit 12 o'clock. That went by pretty fast. So we're going to end it here. We didn't get to the last question, but you can certainly talk to any of the guys here over lunch. With that, I want to thank everybody for coming. A lot of fun. And again, let's talk after the presentation if you have any further questions or suggestions. By the way, I always say this at the end of every one of these tech alleys. If you have an idea, if you have something you're doing you think would be of interest, community, come talk to me. Maybe you could be one of the presenters. I always am very open to finding folks that have interesting stories to tell. So thank you very much.
Thank you.